Welcome, everybody. It's nice to have people from the public interested in the Permanent Building Commission. I think in 28 years, it might be the second time we've had a crowd. And I shouldn't say the second time, because when we did the community center, we had some involvement then, and it's helpful and it's valuable to us. So before we begin our tour of this building, being the last building in town that we need to view and get familiar with so that we can match up to the facilities master plan. We have a topic that we need to get comfortable with as a group, and we as a committee need to agree and get a consensus on how our responsibilities to the town according to the charter and to the ordinance that describes our duties. So I just wanted to review that in public with everybody in the room so that we have an understanding of what our responsibilities are. Just as a little background, I have been working with the Charter Review Commission to create some edits that I thought would have better clarified the way we have worked in the past, which has been a very successful way of working. But as it turns out, the items that I had concerns with all fall under ordinances, so the Charter Review Commission has no authority to deal with that. So that being said, we had a meeting yesterday. Glenn and I met with the first selectman and the Public Works Director, and we came to an agreement about how we are going to carry forward with our duties. And you should have an attachment behind the agenda that had just a copy of the charter and the ordinances. And on the side, I have a few notes that clarify our meeting from yesterday. So I think there's one sentence in the whole thing that really triggered some thought about how we are organized, who we report to, and how we get things done. And when things are not done, who is responsible for that. So the first sentence under paragraph A of the charter, it says, there is created in and for the town a commission to be known as the Permanent Building Commission, which is authorized to be generally responsible for the planning, construction, and renovation of public buildings under the direction of the Board of Selectmen. So for 28 years, that has been no trouble at all. As we have reduced support staff in the town, some of the responsibilities that were originally carried out by that staff have been kind of unassigned, I'm going to say. So we have picked up the slack on some of the planning and things like that. For instance, with the cold storage building, with the Babs project, and with some other things, but really we've been very lowly active since the town hall renovation. But now that we have this major project, we are taking the leadership role on this, and it's when we really begin to build something. We have an approved project with a budget. That's where the question came in on who runs that project. Now, according to this, we run it, but according to the way we discussed and agreed yesterday, we are able to delegate the day-to-day responsibilities to the Board of Selectmen, who will pick somebody to do that. So that's how that's going to happen. If we need to hire an extra person for the duration of that job, that's a possibility. If the Public Works Department has the capacity, they will do it. If it's a school project, you may be leading some of that. So that is the way we have come to agree on how to work under this charter verbiage. So basically, if you scroll down, there's no issues with anything else, B through F in the charter. If you come down on the ordinance section, and I've kind of listed it off to the left. Our job is to study the building needs. If a building needs a new place to go, to be built, it's our job to locate the property and scope out the appropriate property, just like we did for the high school. That doesn't change anything. And then we are the overseers and the supervisors of the building projects. So in other words, we would hire a general contractor, we would hire somebody, and then we would generally oversee that process, which is really the way we have done it in the past and that we would continue. Len, if you have any input at all on.
No,
you're
doing fine,
Right.
based on yesterday's meeting.
Yeah, and then our next task would be that we would be responsible to create building documents. Now, we would do that by hiring engineers and architects and the right people to do that, but it would come under our task as a committee to make that happen. And then during the building process, Joe, you've done this in the past with the library, you went to the Historic District Commission, you've done all of those other approval commission visits and things like that. So we would continue to do that. One of the newest to us, not so new in the ordinances, is that we are responsible to produce a building report each year before July 1st, which is 91-3 on the second page, that we would give a progress report on the condition and the needs of the building and a plan to correct whatever needs those buildings have. So that is something that the staff used to do, I guess. I'm not sure who was doing it, or maybe it wasn't being done. And that might be the whole point.
We did it,
Okay. Did we produce an annual report though, Joe?
yes, and we submitted it to the Board of Finance.
Okay.
And the Board of Selectmen.
I didn't have any idea that you
I
were
mean,
doing
the Board
that.
of Selectmen, excuse me.
Okay. All right.
Joe, you had us covered.
You had us covered and we
You
didn't know.
had it covered, we didn't realize it.
All right, so it's not so
You just
new.
take all your minutes and compile them and submit it as a record of what you completed.
Okay, so this might be a little bit different from that. They want an actual report, so they can see from year to year what keeps appearing on a building condition report. So,
I think the intent here is to have all of the documents relating to any building maintenance and so forth in one place, instead of having to go do it for them.
that would be a good idea.
Yes, well, that's what happens.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. And maybe the staff had that. I don't know. I don't know what John Clunan and Jack Muska, I don't know how they filed all of those things and who had access to them. We were looking for something today for the library. There were two different places that we found two
No,
different
the library is
documents.
run differently.
But the town documents for the library project,
It was not a town project.
it wasn't?
No.
Okay.
The library is a separate building.
Okay. So I just wanted to be clear with the committee, that is our understanding on how we are going to work under this ordinance. For me, I guess, Joe, I might be reaching out to you for help, is this end of the year annual report. I actually think that our facilities master plan would become the basis of that report. And then maybe what we do is, because we have to report every 5 years, we may pick a couple buildings a year and report on a rolling basis, so that ACE knows, what's going on. And if we can combine that with staff reporting on things that you have on your maintenance lists and things that you've gotten done, I think that would be good for the town to have that all in one place.
Kevin, I have a question.
Yes.
Under this creating building documents,
Yes.
is that going to include RFPs? Are we gonna hire some type of service to prepare an RFP if it is chosen?
So we would have.
Or in the past,
We
the
would
town
have,
did it?
we would have the responsibility to get it done, and we could do it ourselves. We could hire somebody outside. We could ask the staff, let staff do it.
Okay, and then,
It's not, they don't want us sitting here writing it. They want us to make sure it's getting done.
and then kind of to lead what Joe was saying, other than the last portion of the last sentence, I mean, accounting of expenditures made in foreclosure, so like Joe said, if you submitted the minutes to the meeting, that would take care of that.
Yes.
But, Joe, did we ever define plans concerning future building needs? I mean, if that's part of the reporting, I don't think we ever did that.
No, I don't think we did
No, and so that's why I think we start with this master
Yeah,
plan
yeah,
and
that's
then
right.
kind of keep
Mhm.
that alive, rolling forward. And then, you know, time-wise, it's a big thing. I mean, Larry's in the buildings all day long, and it's hard to keep up. I don't know how a group of volunteers is gonna be able to pull together a comprehensive report that, so that would be a hired task.
Yeah, and so is there some type of budget for this annual reporting that we're going to establish? Or the selectman is gonna put a line item
To
to
be
do this every
determined.
year?
To be determined, because that was a big question, it was a big area of the reason for the question. And we have heard that if we need something, ask for it, and they will find a way to do it.
Okay.
So that is how we are gonna go forward. So I wanted everybody in the conversation. I apologize for going ahead to the commission with my questions. It started off as questions, then it became comments, and it just grew into something much bigger. I was looking for clarification in the beginning, and then it became a request for my own input, and then I did that without committee involvement. So, my lesson is learned. Any questions on that going forward? Is everybody good with that?
Yeah, I am, Kevin, you did a good job explaining it, you know,
Okay.
so. You feel good on it?
And
Huh?
I don't need jerk anything, I read through it a couple times.
Yeah, and that's fine.
That's my-
So basically, I
Little
would say
tendencies.
basically it's business as usual with the change for us being that things that used to be laid out for us ahead of a meeting,
Mhm.
we're gonna come from different directions. I don't know who's gonna do that.
Such as,
Well, depends. If it's a school project, it might be the school staff, and if it's a town project, it would be the town staff. So
they're still generating the projects, is that correct? Or
that
do
is,
you have a bigger role in that now? I think that was
so
the question.
So that was a big part of the concern. I don't think we need to be looking around to say what needs to be done, and then generating a project from that. But if the school department comes to us and says, you know, this roof is really giving us problems, the lights in this hallway don't work and we don't know why. Obviously, they can call an electrician and get that problem solved, but if it becomes a more generalized issue, then we would look into it. And then we would work together to get that, just like the HVAC
Figure out
project
what
right now.
the project is, right?
Right, the HVAC project, the school department went out, secured the grant. They are working with a contractor to write the RFP, I guess, and so we're marching down the road to get that done. We are, on a project like that, we are concerned because we have a deadline to be finished for the money to be there. And right now, originally, we thought we had a 40-week lead time for equipment. Now, it might be as low as 22, depending on how long this dock strike goes on and whether Mexico gets the parts that they need. You know, everything is up in the air. Right, it gets very complicated. So we're working as fast as we can to get to a contract and get that material ordered so that we have it here. And the schools will be filling us in as they have information on that. But that would be, to your point, we would be looking for the schools to come to us and give us those updates. We're not
They're still the experts on their buildings.
on their buildings, correct. And we're here to help task the contract and the solutions for the construction.
But in the past, on some of these projects, they would come with progress drawings, 50%, 75%. And as a group, because we have a wide array of expertise, we would critique some of that. Are we gonna continue to do that?
I
Or are they
hope so.
gonna, or are they gonna send this out RFP and then, oh, here's your plans, go make sure it gets built right?
So I think we can offer that service to them.
Okay.
And if they get to a point in the process where they need our input, then we want them to come to us.
See, that's where CM at risk comes in. We get an architect on board prior to a project.
Right.
Heather, you know this as well as I do. You guys, you being an architect, you guys give us drawings, 15% renderings right off the bat.
Right,
And then as a board, we normally go through the drawings.
Right, you're
We pick 'em
estimating
up-
all
We pick them apart,
Right.
give them a look at.
But as an example, right now, have we as a group ever seen anything about this HVAC project for the school?
The only thing we know is that we have a grant for $3.4 million. On a total cost, I don't know what the
Right.
reimbursement is.
I'm gonna look it in the eye. Well, I've had a meeting with that gentleman and that gentleman, okay? Both on the project, Larry and Mr. Remington.
Okay.
And both Kevin and I have met with Carrier
Okay.
numerous times, correct? And there's numerous calls to these folks.
All right, that's fine, I'm just saying, in the
Yeah.
past, it's always
Yeah.
been, as a group, we would review
Between-
stuff.
Between the vice chair and the chair here, we've called you folks, and where do we stand with these guys? What's the lead times,
Right. So as soon as they get a document worthy of examination.
right.
Okay.
Obviously, they gotta sign a PO here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Or we're not gonna have anything on the roof, right?
Right, and we don't currently have a document to share, but I would expect in the next couple of weeks, we will have something to share with you. And you're the subject matter experts, and we look for your guidance on that.
Yeah, and we welcome you to come.
They've been out the last 2 days, again, they've got most of their pricing ready and all the stuff we're gonna need to review. Mine is curb adapters, they've had a bunch of subs come out looking at the roof, that's the big holdup on their documents, it's just making sure all the curb adapters are right, so
And
once they get that.
that can be a problem, too, when you pull the oil unit, you gotta do the adapter, because you gotta do the transition pieces, and you got the four-pipe system that comes up in, and you got the electrical part of it, all that's gotta be, then the big part, of course, is you guys know, the controls.
Yeah.
Because the controls you've got aren't gonna match these new units.
And we're
We're
gonna,
hoping to
we're-
get that within the week.
We're getting into the weeds on it.
Yeah.
I'm looking
yeah,
at.
so,
in a
so what
100
we'll want to
100 foot up.
see in your documents,
This has all been talked to.
That's fine. Okay.
we'll want to see construction documents, we'll want to see strategies for picking and placing equipment on the roof, rooftop protection. You know, we would want to review for that, give you our feedback, and then you can execute the contract. And that's the way it should work. And I think that if it continues to work that way, and on the town side, it should be the same thing.
Okay.
If the town has a need for something, they get to a point where they have a plan, they have an approval, and they have project plans in front of them, and then we can look at it and give them our input.
Okay.
So that's where we are on that. Any questions from the public, I will welcome. Yes.
Okay, first of all, I don't know who all you all are, but I know there's only 8 members, so I'm assuming some of you other people are from other like schools, from the school buildings or
Yeah.
Somewhere else.
Okay.
Could somebody kind of just tell us who people are?
Sure.
I was going to ask if you could go around and introduce yourself so we know who we're talking to. I know you, but I've only been here 40 years, so I don't know.
And I do have a follow-up question.
I'm Kathy Olathorpe, I'm a member.
Bill Goswell, I'm a member.
Marty Page, alternate member.
Glenn Nielsen, vice chair.
Kevin Goff, I am the chair.
Heather Van Dusen, member.
I'm Brian Burrell, I'm an alternate.
Joe Sangiovanni, member.
And
Oh,
so,
you want
If you're part of them, yes. If you're
I'm not part
us,
of
no.
that, no.
Well, I mean, if you're part of the meeting,
hang out with those
if you're part of the meeting, I'd like to know who you are. And if we're just the public watching, so if you're interacting, then we'd like to know who you are.
Yeah.
I'm Larry Plano, Director of Facilities, Safety and Security in the schools.
Okay.
Brad Melcher, ACE Chairman.
Oh, cool. Now, the
I
other
know you
Know
can-
me.
Yes. And we know that's a. Now, my question is, this is sort of like permanent board building commission
Permanent
for
building
dummies
commission.
here? My question's that for dummies here? Just make sure I understood correctly. I think I heard that you guys basically, the charter doesn't apply to you, so to speak, because you fall under the ordinances.
no, the charter
Applies,
applies to us,
but-
the question that I had didn't.
Right.
wasn't part of the
Okay, so if I heard correctly, I think I heard that you basically okay with the charter and the ordinances, the way it's written, with the arrangements you've sort of made.
So I am fine with it the way it's written, along with the agreement that we
That's
have
what- yeah.
to honor.
And I guess that's what I'm asking,
Yes.
is did I hear anywhere in there that there's gonna be any,
There's no changes.
But do we need to, is there any plan to put that agreement in writing someplace? I mean, it just seems prudent.
At this point, I'm pretty comfortable with the way it'll work out, and when it doesn't, that's when we have to make some changes.
Okay,
But we're gonna march forward.
okay.
We don't have a real building project yet, so
Okay,
I can't anticipate something going wrong and making changes in documents. We'll have to see how it works
okay,
out.
as long as, well, you know, you guys know what you're doing. You've been doing this for a long time without anybody telling you what to do.
Oh,
So
that's
I'm-
not true.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that I understood correctly, that you're not
Yes.
recommending any changes.
I'm not
or
recommending
anything.
any changes at this
And by the way,
point.
as Ms. Irwin here pointed out, I very rudely did not introduce myself. I'm Sandra Janik at 380 Prospect Street.
Nice
And I
thing.
happened to hear you speak at the Charter Revision Commission.
Right.
And I thought you raised some very interesting points, and I was somewhat confused as to where we were at that point, so that's why I'm here
So we
tonight.
serve at the request of the Board of Selectmen.
Mhm.
That's who we report to. The Board of Selectmen can use a number of people to funnel their requests through. Right now, it's the Public Works Department and it's the School Department.
Okay.
They're kind of two separate entities. So the School Department has Larry, the town has Cory. And that's really where we expect the input to come from. What we're missing that we had before is we had office staff. We had a town engineer, we had a facility manager, we had a public works director. We had 4 different people
Okay.
that were working on things all the time, who would come to us on a regular basis and say, take a look at this for us. We don't have all of those
And so
people.
now you're sort of counting on these guys and your annual review of the master building plan, you'll work on it as you go forward.
Correct,
To identify areas that.
correct.
need
It may very well be that the staff made those assessments and it just happened and we didn't know about it. You know, so raising the question helped us clarify all of this.
Well, I'm glad you did, I'm glad there are relationships in place and,
Yep.
working, work together. Thank you very much.
Yes, and I would like to say that this group was very modest by introducing themselves as members. We have architects, we have engineers, we have project managers, we have a very good mix of talent.
Well, like I said, you obviously been working without, us running around telling you what to do for the last however many years, so.
It's okay.
just-
It's
But I
okay.
was just more curious.
We like to fly under the radar, and this is not so much under the radar.
You promised to behave.
Yes,
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment, Annie Hornish, 864 Thrall. I respectfully disagree. I think whatever you're doing should be part of the charter and clarified, because even if you have a working relationship now, things can change, in the future with different leadership. And just putting it in writing what you do and what the processes are, I think would be of value.
well, it is in writing, and it's the interpretation that we squared away.
But just clarifying that, because there was some confusion at some point that needed to be clarified, and just tweaking
Right.
that, I think it's, while the charter's open, it's an opportunity to fix that.
Unfortunately, the Charter Commission has no authority over the ordinances. That is strictly a Board of Selectmen
Okay,
function,
yeah,
so.
and the ordinance is under the building commission, if I go.
Correct.
Okay,
The directive under the charter,
okay,
the ordinance, or the list of ordinances, it's A, B, and C,
okay.
basically. And then a separate ordinance is the reporting portion of it. So the confusion was when the new introduction of our duties came, it was called charter.
Okay,
But none of us looked at it close enough to find out it was really an ordinance.
okay,
So
thank you.
that's what it was. Yes?
Hi, Neil Hornish, Thorold Avenue. I just wanted to thank you for asking for public comment now in case we're not all here after you do your walkthrough, so we appreciate it.
You're welcome. We appreciate the input and the support. Okay,
I have a question.
so okay, go ahead.
Suzanne Irwin, 58 Marburn, and I
40
did not
years,
tell
that's all.
Sandra that she was rude, just for the record. I just know that at a lot of meetings you introduce yourself, so you did,
I should have.
and you did fine. The only question or comment I have is that it looks as though you people have some kind of documentation that you're referring to, that we don't.
It's a copy of the chart.
Okay, so what I can get on the chart, it's the same, that's fine, just so I know that it isn't, some kind of other communication.
No,
you know,
it's a copy of the charter with
That's great.
chairman notes to shorten the
Okay.
reading of the
Thank you.
charter, that's all. Yes.
And I just got one brief thing to say. I'm Jim Irwin on 58 Marburn Drive. I was also on the ACE committee for 2 years, and I want you to know that you guys truly do run under the radar. You're very low profile, but you're also incredibly important to projects moving forward through this town. And watching the level of your responsibilities increase, as you said, the town has less and less professionals paid to do some of the things that you are now being asked to acquire, is not necessarily realistic, no matter how dedicated you are as a system, as a group of volunteers. There's a lot of work. I mean, simply reviewing the facilities master plan is a 650-page document or thereabouts. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I just read the appendix. But the long and short of it is, I have nothing but admiration and respect for this entire group, because you are a very diverse group in terms of the talents that you bring to the table, and I can't imagine how anything would get done on a major project level in this town without you guys. So thank you for your service
Thank
to
you,
the
that
town.
means a lot to us.
It's the
I'm
truth.
glad I asked for public input.
There you go.
Okay, we're gonna move on. We are gonna begin our tour of the facility, and if everybody has, if anybody wants a copy of this, you're welcome to it, but we are gonna be wandering through the building on a path led by Larry to verify this punch list of items, so that we can see, this report is a little bit more than 2 years old. So we are verifying that indeed what was in the report still exists, and that some other problem hasn't cropped up in its place. So that's our task as we go through tonight. Because of daylight happening much sooner now, it's going to be tough to do outdoor reviews at this point. So we won't be doing any of the site improvements or the exterior improvements today. We will begin with the interior. And Larry, do you have a path that you think we should concentrate on for the first visit? This will take us 2 or 3
That's,
visits.
can I ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the big question to start is this a 1 or 2 visit? Because I think
It's
if
going to
it's
be as
gonna
many as it takes.
Because I think if we know we're gonna be here a second day, we can focus today on the mechanical end.
Yep.
Kind of, boiler room, electrical rooms,
Mhm.
talk about systems.
Right.
And kind of maybe on the
Those are the-
second tour do classroom, and if you, and
That's
again,
right.
I'm available if anyone wants to get on the roof in daylight hours, members of the committee. I know you guys start at 6 and it's gonna be dark at 6, but,
Most
if you
people are
guys-
still working, so it's
yeah,
tough.
but if you wanna reach out through Kevin or get to me, we can get you up there if you wanna look at anything up there.
Okay, so we will begin with Division 21, page 3. Do you want to go through the kitchen equipment?
Are we gonna walk?
We're going to walk, yes, yes. And then, as we go through too, the prioritization check marks, if you see something that you think belongs in a different column that can stretch out longer or needs to happen sooner, please make the note, and then let me take a picture of your notes before you leave so that I can compile everything. And then that way, we'll be able to distribute the priorities and dollar values over the next 10 years.
So on that miscellaneous, so at the top of page 3, miscellaneous kitchen equipment,
Yeah, so,
that's gonna be immediate, because we are working now on a
Okay.
walk-in freezer, not all equipment, but there are some big components. that-
okay, so I didn't know if you wanted to start.
Yeah, I can start wherever you wanna start, we can
Yeah,
start in the
let's-
kitchen. if you
let's,
want.
yeah, let's start in the kitchen, and then we'll go
Guess what?
through.
Mechanical room and fire closet are all right there.
All of that stuff.
Pretty central, so.
Yeah, we can go through that stuff next.
And my high school grad from this building is here to join us with all this historical knowledge.
Awesome. That's excellent.